Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Office Management Portal Webemo. I hope you can all hear me okay. If there are any issues, please just type in the chat group and I'll have a look at what's going on. This is the first one we're doing, so hopefully it goes okay and without any technical glitches, but you never know, so bear with me. My name is Hannah Gray and I'm the founder of the Office Management Portal and a company called Black and White Office Consultancy. And today I'm going to show you guys the Office Management Portal, talk you through why I developed it, how the idea came about, and also show you the portal and then open up for questions and answers at the end and talk to you a little bit more about some other things that we do, such as our quarterly networking events and also our free trial that's been launched recently. I'm just going to answer a question. Someone's just got an issue, so hopefully, Helen, you can hear me okay. Okay, fab. So all of your lines are muted at the moment, and I will list them when we get to Q&A. If you don't have any questions, please keep your line muted so that we don't get too much background noise, and then we can go through. There's about 10 people on the line, and we might get a few more join, so yeah, enjoy. So when I first thought about creating the Office Management Portal, it was probably about a year ago, maybe just over now. And it wasn't long into setting up Black and White Office Consultancy. The Office Consultancy was set up really to help office managers and offices who perhaps don't have an office manager or who have projects on and they want some extra expert hands. And during the work I did with a couple of clients, some of them had said to me, you know, we were doing some health and safety work, and they said, hey, Hannah, can you send me some templates and I can then fill in the gaps for something like, for example, a health and safety policy, instead of you doing all the work, because I'd really like to learn how to do those, or how to do a risk assessment, or how to do a tender document for our fit out or our stationery. And a number of old colleagues were getting in touch with me as well. And people that I used to work with at RBS were now in companies like Vodafone, and people from City Index were in smaller companies, and they were saying, hey, who should I use for cleaning, and who should I use for, again, plants or stationery? And do you remember that template you set up at RBS to track all of our joiners and all of our travel, and the moves you did and the way you did them with the project list and all sorts of bits and pieces? Can you share all these templates with us? And I thought, well, I could, but this is my business. So I decided to pop it online in a portal. And when I looked at it, we did a survey and realised, as you can see, that there was a bit of a problem out there, and there was a real lack of support, development and access to training, advice, contacts and resources like templates for people in office management roles or PAs who have some office management responsibilities. And we did a survey last year in about June time, and there was over 100 office managers on the survey across the country, and 88% of them said that they would be interested in a platform like the portal. And we already knew it because I've been an office manager for most of my career and a PA prior to that. And we already know that office managers wear many, 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 many different hats in their roles, from things like having to do the office move to running the reception and booking meeting rooms, ordering the stationery, ordering furniture or fixing furniture when it breaks, you know, outsourcing it if needed, doing light bulb changes or getting your engineer to do them, doing events, doing some business continuity planning, procurement, HR, inductions, health and safety, and the list just went on and on and on. And the survey is really interesting because there's around about 65 to 70 different hats that we wear as office managers in our roles, yet nothing to support us. So our aim was to create a virtual and physical network for you guys, for office management professionals, to try and help bridge that gap. And I think it was around 2 in 3 from the survey said that they would like access to a physical network as well as a virtual one, i.e. through networking events or other means. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what we've done to bridge that gap there later. So the solution that we have built that launched in December last year is an easy to use tool, accessible whenever you need it, full of tips, advice, templates, contacts, and much, much more. And that's what we've called the Office Management Portal. And it really does what it says on the tin. It is an online platform you can go to at any time and grab all these resources. So there's a free trial available, and I'll show you how to get to that in a second when we flick to the portal online. I'll also send you a link to it after the Webemo, so you've registered with your email addresses, so I'll shoot that over to you. And I think we've got a couple of our members actually on the line this morning, so I think they're keen to have a look at it with me and see how else they might be able to use it. The free trial is for 30 days. It's completely payment free, so you don't add any details at this time. And it's only if you want to join after it ends that you then proceed to make a payment and sign up as a member. Membership is about, well, it's a 1-year membership program, so you can pay monthly or annually in advance, and I'll show you the packages later. I mentioned some networking events, so this is one of the things that's really quite exciting, and I was actually at an office management networking event last night, and there's only a couple in the city in London at the moment. And ours tend to attract between 40 and 60 office managers at the moment, and it's growing every time. So we've held 2 in London now, and our next one will be around mid-May again in London. So if you guys are happy to, now that we've got your email addresses, we'll send you the invite, and hopefully we can meet face to face at that event. The reason behind the networking events, as I say, is because we recognised there was a gap and many office managers don't have that support internally, or they feel quite isolated in their roles. I certainly did when I was an office manager, and even though perhaps you have a team around you that you may be part of or you may manage, you are generally the only ones that are doing that job. And a lot of the feedback we've had is that it's a thankless job, and no one's ever going to come up to you or drop you an email and say, hey, thanks so much for making the aircon work today, or for keeping that light bulb on, because that's just not the way it goes. They come to you when there's issues, when there's complaints, and when you need to get things ordered or fix things, or make moves happen, which are obviously always quite disruptive, and no one's really keen to have those. So the events are really to try and build, as I say, this bridge and this gap, so that you guys don't feel so isolated anymore. And I know from just our first couple of events that we've already got some office managers who've met separately to the events for a coffee, or perhaps a wine if they fancy, and they've kind of formed some professional friendships, which is really great to see. So they're completely free, they're open even if you're not a member of the portal, so do come along if you can make the next one. In the future, we've got some portal developments to include webinars supporting the use of the templates. There's one in a couple of weeks which will talk through the health and safety template. So certain membership packages come with that webinar package, and you can join, and then we'll talk through how to use the templates, and I'll show you some of those shortly. There's going to be expert panel discussions online and physically as well, so some of our supplier partners will be on the line, so we can have a topic, for example, on the typical office move and things to be aware of and things we've learned over time, and expert advice from the suppliers that are on the ground helping you do the moves as and when. The portal really is developed on feedback. So obviously some of the ideas have come from me and from being in office management and the templates that I've created over time. However, the most important thing for me and for my company is that we get your feedback and we find out what it is you need, what you'd like to see there in the future, because this is a platform for you, for office managers, and it's got to work for you. So we really, really value feedback. You can contact me by phone, email at any time with suggestions. If you sign up to the free trial, there is a survey that will come out afterwards when it expires, and it takes about 5-10 minutes, and there's questions on there again geared to help us develop it in the future. It's very, very new, so of course every little bit of feedback counts and helps us to make it more useful in the future. So I'm just going to swap now to the portal and show you guys the office management portal and what it looks like, and talk through some of the benefits. I'll show you sign up packages after we've finished, but for now, it's really easy to get to. It's www.theofficemanagementportal.com, and it will come up with this dashboard to log in. Obviously, if you do want to sign up either on a paid membership or the free trial, you can click up here and go through. So we can log in. This platform, so I believe, is built on the same platform that Facebook is built on. And it's something called React. And it's really, really intuitive and easy to use. So it flows through quite nicely. And hopefully it doesn't need too much explanation, because everything's really clear and obvious to see. We have already had feedback from one of our members who's on the line. And I actually didn't get to tell her when I saw her the other week that we have put those developments into our next phase. So they're starting to be built now. And it's to have some hovers over here so that you know what these labels are on the left side. So we really do listen, and where it makes sense to, we will make those developments. So I'm sure you know who I'm talking to, but that's in development. When you log in, obviously you're faced with the dashboard, so you can get to any of the 6 core areas in the portal from here. You can view your account, so as with everything these days, we can add pictures, so that's me, and you know, all your telephone numbers, details, etc., etc. All of this is just hidden for you, and it's only your name that you use in the forum, which is what we call a nickname, that will be visible if you interact in the forum. There's our terms and conditions and policies, so really key to have a read of those, particularly with the general data protection regulation coming in, GDPR, and we've made some changes because of that in there, so do have a read. There's a help section in here, so anything common that you might need answering, everything leads you to our contact form if you do have any questions, but these are just some FAQs to help you. And of course, you can log out from here. When you log in, you'll probably see this icon quite frequently, or hopefully, and what it means is that there's been some content added, whether it's a new tip or template that we've added, and you can click on it and go straight to that new template or tip and have a look. Or if you've been in the forum and you've raised a topic, or you've replied to a topic and you've started in a thread, you'll get interactions like this to say that someone's replied to your topic. So I raised a topic last night about a smell in an office, one of my clients, and actually this morning we have found that it was the blocked drain, and baby wipes were down there and all sorts, because they share their building with about 35 residential flats. But for about a week now, we've really struggled to find anything, and I think they had all the floorboards up yesterday, and finally we found it. So I raised this topic, so if anybody else has had this problem before, and Emily, who's one of our, she's actually on a free trial members, has said check the drains, which actually is quite right, and it was the drain, so yeah, so she knew. So you can do that and get notifications up here, just like Facebook again, with notifications, or LinkedIn and so on. So it makes it a little bit more interactive. If I go back here to the home section, we're back to the 6 core areas. So I'm going to dip in first of all to tips and advice. Excuse me. So this section is, it acts a little bit like a blog, and as it suggests, tips and advice, and also a news feed. So we have access to lots of news feeds from health and safety, HR, compliance, particularly in regards to the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office, who is responsible for the new regulation with GDPR. And we put everything in here, and there's probably about 2 to 3 tips, maybe more, added every week. So that's the newsfeed piece. I went to a training session on GDPR recently, and then over the weekend I wrote this quick tip section on GDPR. So if you do join, definitely have a look at that one, because it's the hot topic at the moment, and May isn't too far away. The most crucial thing I recommend is to have a gap analysis, whether you download a template from online, or you get a company in to do the consultancy with you. That's the key, to have that, because it shows you where you need to improve. But some useful tips in there. And it's got some things like health and safety updates. So the HSE, who's the governing body, the Health and Safety Executive across the UK here, recently published a really useful back to basics section on health and safety on their website. So particularly if you're a small business, or you're managing health and safety for the first time, or even if you're experienced at it, have a look and see if there's anything there that you've perhaps missed in the past. Legionnaires, if anyone's doing anything with that, there's some easy tips here on what your responsibilities are. So this is all to do with your water systems and preventing the build-up and the risk of Legionnaire's disease from being leaked out of your office, particularly if you've got cooling towers on the top of your building that you're responsible for, but otherwise it's generally about temperature and tap monitoring and so on. So there's lots and lots of different things, health and safety wise. There's some HR things in here as well about changes to wages and payroll information, so statutory pay increases, redundancy pay increases, national and minimum living wage increases and so on. And you can search in here as well. So if I search, for example, for fire, anything that mentions the word fire comes up here. So it's quite a bit in there about fire, obviously being quite a key risk for us to make sure we manage. Things in here like, for example, if you're starting a new role as an office manager, so say, for example, you move, you're an office manager already and you leave that company, join another one. This tip's geared at you, so finding out who is responsible for what straight away in terms of all your systems, maintenance, cleaning, health and safety and so on. Getting to know your co-workers, so they are the third parties that support your company, like the handyman and the engineers, security and so on, because you need them on side, as you probably know, to make sure that everything's really effective for your office. Read your office lease or rental or service agreement. So many people I meet haven't ever seen it, and as a result, the break clauses get missed. So if you did want to terminate, you've missed a break option, or you're not aware that you have to give 3 months notice on service agreements and so on and so forth. So do have a read of that and highlight key notes. So lots of tips in there. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of how they work, and they're the ones you'll get notifications on up here when they're added. To the templates now. So this is the area where during a free trial, you'll be able to access this, but you won't actually be able to download any templates. So you can certainly browse through and have a look at the descriptions and see what it's all about, but you won't be able to tick this box and actually get the template. The most popular ones I tend to show on here are the Move project plan and a couple of others to do with health and safety and procurement. So I'll show you those, and certainly during Q&A, if anyone wants to have a look at any more, we can do so. So with all of our templates, what I try to do is give some advice here in this section to say what it's for, how best to use it, perhaps a bit of blurb on, you know, we can only go so far with this, and make sure that you check this, because particularly when it comes to health and safety, it's very subjective and it's very much how you're running your office as to what we've written is accurate or not, and therefore you need to make sure you have a look and change them. But this one here is a project move plan, so we've done it in Word as well, because there's sometimes a preference, and all you need to do is tick the agree with the terms and conditions box and download. And the reason we have that T's and C's there is to make sure that our members aren't sharing these files outside of their company or outside of their membership, because it's your intellectual property and ours now that you've become a member, but you can't share it beyond that. So while that opens, there we go. With most of our templates in Excel, you'll notice that there is conditional formatting in here. And I remember one of our members is based in the Shard, and I met him sometime earlier this year, and I showed him this template and a few others, and he said, wow, I love conditional formatting because it just makes everything so much cleaner, and it's a traffic light system. So same here, we love it, and we put it into all of our templates for ease. So this is a list of around about 70, 80 items to consider when doing an office move. And this could be an internal reshuffle. It doesn't necessarily need to be an office relocation. So if you're just doing something where perhaps you're creating some swing space, or you've got to move departments around and do some fit out work, this is the start of the move side of that piece to help you. It considers things like artwork, and it considers things like cancelling your milk order if you are doing a relocation, because often we forget all these little things that come into play. Doing a filing audit, so you know exactly what you've got, so that you can make sure that if you are moving people around the office, there's enough cabinets for them to put their filing in, or likewise if you're moving offices altogether, to make sure that you've accounted for that and you've got enough space. You know, the move agenda, move labels, timings, photographer if you want to for a new office shoot, so that you can put it on your website and show show your new office, down to making sure the cleaner knows, and even a welcome pack, a welcome gift. So for example, you could say on everybody's desk, welcome to your new office, and have the fire safety information in there, so everybody's been given that straight away. Perhaps a desk assessment, self-assessment form and training guide, and also just some basic information about the whereabouts of the office, floor plans, perhaps with names on and so on. Obviously, you could send that virtually as well. It doesn't need to be in paper form. And if your company has the luxury to spend, then they could always do a welcome gift as well. And I'd recommend doing a welcome pack, even if it is an internal move, just with some of the basic things in there, like the desk assessments and nearest fire exits if they've moved far. So that's our move template. And everything in here, as I say, is conditional formatted. So as I go through and pop things in the key, and I can obviously sort in whatever order I want, and this will be yours. You can change it to suit you. There's some other bits and pieces in here, so some move check sheets. So this is like a pre and post move check sheet. So when you are about to decommission everybody's kit, before you do that, go around and check that they've got everything there. So have they got their crates labelled? How many crates have they got? Is there any bulky items that can't go into crates, like umbrellas or footrests or whatever it might be? Are they labelled, and make a note of what they've got? And again, what we like to do is try and recommend obviously best practice things like this. So putting a photo of their desk in here before you decommission it and before you move them, so that you can see the layout of their telephone, what side it sits on, and their mouse, and how high roughly their monitors are, and whether they're angled or they're straight on, and so on and so forth. And then when it comes to the post move, you as the office manager or whoever's responsible for doing these checks can make sure that everything's in place as it should be. And if not, say for example, a crate's gone missing, you can make a note here, leave it on that person's desk or send them an email, and they know that you're already on the case before they come in on Monday morning. So everything with these templates is about being proactive and trying to be really, really super efficient with the running of your office. Joiners and leavers, so there's lots of templates in here, like a welcome pack, for example, which you can always tweak for your move welcome pack, trackers, notification emails that you can perhaps upload online on an intranet, so line managers can send them to you automatically, or your HR department can send them, and you can put some really nice processes in place so that you don't get that last minute, oh, by the way, Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, someone's joining on Monday, can you make sure they're set up, which happens all too often. Or even worse, you didn't know at all, and the joiner comes on Monday at reception, and we've just got that blank look on our faces of, oh my goodness, nobody knew, and panic sets in amongst you and IT and everybody else. So really trying to get ahead of that. There's some floor plans in there, so symbols that you can use, and some CAD descriptions of what symbols mean when you're looking at an AutoCAD floor plan, so an architectural one. And all of these templates just keep growing, so we add again around 2 or 3 a week. Office housekeeping lists, general office management, so if you do things like on reception, some of the reception teams will do taxi and car bookings or courier bookings, all of that's in there as well. I'm going to show you the health and safety ones now. So this is where we've got most of the templates, and again, these are continually growing. So the most important one I say for people to start with is our gap analysis, which I can't find at the moment. It's probably sitting right in front of me. And this is similar to a move template, the project move plan, but it's an entire gap analysis on how you can run your health and safety and things to consider, and also what's a legal requirement. Now, in my consultancy with Black and White, I will do this, and it costs clients around £650 or so for a gap analysis assessment with 2 hours on site, and then they get this written report afterwards with recommendations. As a member of the portal, you get this as part of your package, and you can download it and fill it in whenever you need to. And this particular template is the one we're going to do a webinar on for our enhanced or premium members in a couple of weeks. So we'll talk through the template, and they can do it live with me while we're on the webinar. And obviously, if there's any questions, they can shout. So it's really, really trying to support you, and also give you some extra skills and development if you're not quite sure on things like health and safety or specific areas with it as to what you should be doing versus what's best practice. So everything in here, as I said, shows whether it's a legal requirement or not. Shoot to the top. Again, we've got conditional formatting, makes everything a lot cleaner. So if I say, yes, we're good, I've got a health and safety notice board in place and all of these items are on it. I can put comments in here if I want to. Perhaps if this one's a no, I haven't quite got a health and safety policy or policy statement together, or perhaps it's in progress, need to review and finish. Or I can put that in my action comments actually. So it's all in there to go through, and everything will stay red until you've answered it. And it covers various sections like desk assessments, risk assessments, occupational health, so covering stress and travel, and fire safety as well. So the best thing really to do with this is to pop your company name up here and the date you started reviewing it, and keep that file going. Obviously, you could do the assessment in one and then start to fill in the gaps as and when. If, for example, you were to have an accident or something happened in your office, which meant that the HSE, the Health and Safety Executive, came to inspect your office, you at least can demonstrate that you've done a gap analysis and you understand what you need to do to be compliant, and you're on the way, rather than saying, I didn't know I had to do that. You know, it's far, far better to have something like this in place, and the same with GDPR. So you know exactly what you should be doing, and you're on the road to doing it. So that's health and safety gap analysis. And of course, if you do need a lot of these forms and templates, for example, if we didn't have a fire safety policy, we can come back in here and download this. And everything generally in these documents, as I say, it's got some tips here as to what to do and what to look out for and what to fill in and so on. But there are some prompts on these that may have an area to put your company logo. And of course, you can completely mix it up. So there's comments in here like replace with your own logo. You can brand it however you want. There's bits highlighted or in square brackets so that you know what to edit. And yeah, it just walks you through it. So this, for ease, replace all your references. For your company, press Control F to control find and put that in. So you don't have to go through the whole document and replace all the square brackets individually. So there's quite a few easy bits like that to just really, really help make it super efficient and easy to use. So that's the health and safety stuff. General facilities management. So if anybody's responsible for issuing permit to works, there's templates and then also a guideline in here, as well as a PAT plan, so portable appliance testing. So if, for example, you're a company that does portable appliance testing every year and you've got hundreds and hundreds of items, you might consider breaking it up into the high, medium and low risk ones, and doing the high risk ones, i.e. things that move and are plugged and unplugged regularly, like, for example, a kettle or a toaster, whatever it might be that tends to get moved around quite frequently. They're high risk because you're plugging and unplugging them, so it potentially can cause damage to the sockets. If, however, it's something like in your comms room, in your communications room, you've got racks and switches and so on, they're probably never going to move unless you move offices or redo your comms room. So they would be low. So you could do those biannually every other year. And everything else can sit in the middle and be done annually. And that might save you some money. It might save disruption instead of having everything done at once and everybody's desks disturbed. You can do it on a PAT plan if you want to. And the last template I'll show you is in procurement. So there's a few checklists in here for if you, for example, are responsible for procurement for your business and you want to have a process in place where you check all of your suppliers ahead of agreeing to have them as a supplier, an approved supplier on your list. You can look at Companies House, see how much credit they've got. You can use companies like CreditSafe, for example, to do some checks and make sure that they've got a good credit rating. And then you can do a checklist like this one, which shows how they're going to be paid. So, for example, if I came into your business and said, right, I'm going to do your engineering, do your M&E contract, but I want an annual payment for £30,000 up front ahead of each contractual year, that's a high risk for you and your business. So actually the better thing, particularly if that company perhaps doesn't have a great credit rating, is to ask them to do quarterly in advance or perhaps quarterly in arrears. And it just gets you to just look at that, look at the length of the contract, have legal reviewed it and so on. So this is a checklist you can use for procurement. And last but not least, I'm going to show you the stationary benchmarking template. And there'll be lots and lots of other ones added in here. We've got about 100 templates to add at the moment. One of them will be on printers and how to procure prints, so MFPs and MFDs and so on. One will be on mobile phones, cleaning contracts and so on. There's so many that we can add in here over time. This one's for stationery. So what you can do is get the current pricing from your current supplier and ask them to send it in this format. So you can whip out a tab from this and send it to them and say, hey, can you fill this in? Or they can send it to you. And when you've got all of these pricing, what we do is break it down on some of these other tabs to show what each individual unit of every item you order costs. So for example, if you're ordering a box of 20 Bic pens, we've set it up so that every single individual Bic pen will be shown as its price, down to even things like grams of coffee. So if you put in your pack sizes here, and your new supplier gives you their pack sizes and they differ in any way, it will show you the exact costs of the item, so the bulk item order, and then, as I say, the individual unit costs. So what each of these batteries cost because they're in a pack of 2. And then it will show you the difference between the current supplier's pricing and the new supplier's pricing. So it works out, for example, if one's selling it like this one here in a pack of 50 at the moment, that's our current pricing, and one is selling it in 55, and the 55 one's 13.50 and the current one's 15.95, it's 0.25p per unit. And then if I actually times that back up with the additional 5, so I break it down into what each unit costs and then times it to match 50 instead of 55, so I'm putting apples to apples with the quantity, it gives me their pricing. So this is actually the price rather than this for 50 clip name badges. So the difference to my current supplier pricing of £15.99 is a saving of £3.72. And I hope that makes sense to everybody, because I know this one's a bit confusing. But it's all set up for you, and this is something we're going to do a webinar on in the future as well to go through this template. And then you can put your average annual order in here so you can see what your total annual spend would be with the new supplier. And then on here it's all linked, so you can see in summary what each line item costs, your average annual orders here, and then obviously you can really easily compare to say, right, who's the cheapest? Okay, it's supplier 2 here. Okay. If you want to go any further, you can actually assess years, so previous years of what you've spent and what it would have cost and so on and so forth, and predict a run rate if you want to of what 2018 looks like with your ordering so far. So you can go quite high and then it will show your saving potential. So that's the stationary benchmarking template. So I'm going to leave templates now and show you a couple of other bits in the portal. This one is the events and training calendar. So this is a really cool feature where we try and bring really a one-stop shop to you guys with this portal. And the idea with this is that we scour the internet and all of our contacts and so on to bring you events and training that we think is useful. And this will cover PA roles, EA roles, receptionists, health and safety, office management, and much more. And it's my mission, and I've spoken to a lot of my contacts lately that are running PA clubs and exhibitions for PAs. It's my mission to make more of those accessible for office managers and to make them more interesting for office managers, because a lot of them will have events there, catering, chauffeurs and so on and so forth, but not a lot of it is move companies or fit out companies or cleaning companies and so on, and making them so that if you're in a dual role of PA and EA, you can just go to that one show for 1 or 2 days and really access everybody that you need to and network and meet people. So it's my mission to create more exhibitions, social media, events, press as well for office managers. So from here you can have a look obviously and sign up. So I think there's a really good one in here called the Ask Abby show, which is, wherever it is there, 27th of April next month. So this is a PA one, but they've started to do quite a lot, as you can see, on corporate wellbeing and managing stress. for office managers in here. And you can book now, and it will just take you to the external link. That one's broken, that's typical, isn't it? I'll get that fixed. So it'll take you to an external link. I'm going to try another one, see where we get to with this. Let's try this one out. Here we go. So some drinks and canapes in Holborn on the 26th of April. Most of the events at the moment are in London that we're putting on here, but we are scouring for ones that are national. So quite a few of the health and safety ones are across the country. I also live in Essex, so I'm doing a few events down here in Essex, like a free DSD workshop, for example, next week in Southend. And then our own events are in here. So we were at a trade show last week, a few weeks ago, sorry, at the office show, and we have got our member webinars in here as well. So if you're a member on an enhanced or premium package, then you can join our webinars and we'll go through certain templates and other things. You can filter, so you can see just training, or you can see just events as well. And again, all of this is just continuing to grow. The forum, so we dipped in here earlier to talk about the one where I've got the smell in the office, which hopefully is sorted now. But you can browse through, and again, you can search for through the topic. So some of our members recently, someone called Dawn, has raised a topic about space in central London. So one of our members replied saying, what are you looking for? And there's a thread here. So this is the top of the topic, and these are the replies. And as with everything these days, we can like people's replies. I don't believe, I've already liked these, you can't like your own messages. Can't make yourself look any popular, but yeah, you can like other people's messages, and you can report them from here as well. You won't see the delete options. It's because, see, I'm in admin view that I get that, but you can report them or reply down here if you need to. So I can say, hope this helped, Dawn. Good luck with your search. Okay, and send that off. So yeah, so we've got quite a few raised in here at the moment. So someone was asking about the office show at Olympia, and a few people popped along. I think Jen was going to be on this call. I'm not sure if she is, but she gave me an idea with this reply to actually put dates and times in the forum, and also to make it more obvious as to which is the header topic. So this will be a development that we'll release soon, where this will be in a different colour, and it will be more obvious as to that being the sort of topic that was raised, and then the order of events and replies that followed with dates and times. So we'll be able to see that a lot easier. So continual development. And the forum, I should just say, sorry, is the virtual part of our network and our mission to network office managers together. So that hopefully will bring us closer and across the country, and share ideas and help and support, or just having a good old moan if you've had a bit of a rubbish day and you're a bit fed up, as sometimes we can be. Next on to the partner search. So I mentioned one of the main ideas that I had when I started, or the main reasons I started developing the portal, is because I had contacts and old colleagues messaging me and clients saying, hey Hannah, who can I use for this and that, and cleaning and stationery and plants and so on. And I've got a fairly solid supplier network that I've built up over my career in office management to about 15, 16 years. But also since I started my own business, I've met so many more people, and obviously some of my clients are using people that I've interacted with. So I know probably around 70% of them really, really well, have known them for 2 to sometimes 10 years, and have used them myself in my office management roles, or as I say, clients have used them. And the other 30% I've gotten to know over time, and then continuing to do so. So I catch up with them regularly. They come to our events, and they've gone through some fairly stringent checks before they're allowed into this portal. And the way that it works is, if, for example, I want a cleaning company, which helps if I could type properly, in London, I can hit search, and up come 3 cleaning companies, or 4 in this case, that I can contact that are cleaning providers. These guys come up because they sell cleaning products to offices, so they've come up with that keyword in there. You can go to their website from here, so we can click on Crystal Cleaning, for example, and have a look at their website, and obviously mosey around and see what services they provide there. download their brochure if they've attached one to their profile. So we can have a look there. She's not looking too happy, but and we can contact them from here. So if, for example, I did a test and said Hannah wants to talk about cleaning, and I shoot that off, they'll then get a note saying this member's contacted you, this is the message, and they'll share your details that you've added into your account up here, so your phone number, your company, and your email address. So some basic details. I can add partners really easily, so if you do have any recommendations, again, I was speaking to one of our members at the event last night, and she said, I know a really great fit-out company, and I'd love to recommend them to be in the directory. So yeah, so if you do know of anybody that you're happy to recommend, we can always have a chat with them. We cap the partners at 3 per county across the country per category. So for example, for fit out, you'll only ever see 3 in the portal if you're searching for a specific keyword. And that's because we recommend that you speak to about 2 to 3 companies for procurement when you're tendering. So we didn't want to give you 6, 7, 8. We really wanted to make it niche and narrow it down, and quite a lot of the categories are full. So they have to sign into it for a year, and then it gets reviewed when it comes up to their 1 year. And as it says here, we take things like insurance, risk assessments and method statements if they're in manual or labour intensive work, and we take client testimonials as well. So we ask for 2 to 3 testimonials, and we meet them face to face for a coffee and have a couple of chats with them about it as well before we pop them on. So that's in there. I'm just going to get back to events as well, because I forgot to highlight something here, that if you want to, in the member view, you'll have the option to add an event. And what that will do is trigger an email to me and my team. And if we think it's a useful event for the portal, we'll put it on. So if your own company is hosting an event and you want some of the members there, or if you know of one that you go to regularly and you can't see it in our calendar, tell us about it and we'll put it in there. The jargon buster next. So this is the last sort of part of the core 6 areas of the system. And this is one that I kind of threw in quite last minute. So it was about 2 months before we went live, and I was doing one-to-one training with an office manager who has an office of about 12 staff. And she basically, as part of training, you get this guide, I guess, this office management guide that we go through, and we highlight different parts, and you get a copy of it at the end. And she said to me, oh, look, I love this guide, it's incredible, but there's so many acronyms in here, and I know you explain what they are during the document, but I'd love it if you could just give me a glossary or something at the end of all the acronyms. Is that possible? So I did it, and I thought, well, do you know, if it's useful for you to have them, it's probably useful for our members in the portal to have them as well. So if, for example, someone keeps saying HVAC or HVAC to me, and I think, what is this? It's the heating, ventilation and air conditioning. So probably quite a common one that most people know, but you can look at it and see exactly what the detail is. Or we can look at PPM, for example. So this is often when you're looking at maintenance, and it's a proactive way of making sure that you clean your filters in your air conditioning system and you maintain your equipment so that it doesn't fail. So it's a planned preventative maintenance. Or you can just scroll through, and again, this list is just growing. There's hundreds and hundreds to add to it at the moment. So yeah, everything is continuing to grow. And contact us. So last but least, you can click on here and say, you know, really like this partner supplier, or can you talk to them because I think they'd like to join the portal, or do you know what, I didn't have a great experience with this partner. If that's the case, let us know, because again, we really value feedback, and I'm an office manager and it's got to work for you guys, as I keep saying. So yeah, do get in touch with us and interact, or you can give us a call at any time. So that is the office management portal. I'll just very quickly log out and show you how you can sign up for a free trial. And as I say, I'll also send the link round in email shortly. So you can click here from the home page to sign up. These are our packages. So you can pay by direct debit, or if your company doesn't do direct debits, as I know some don't, you can always drop me a line and I can send you an invoice if it's easier. So the lowest package is $27 a month, which is our standard. You get full access to the portal, all the templates and everything. It's not restricted. And the enhanced and premium packages are a little bit more, because the enhanced ones mean, and premium, that you can come to webinars. So the one we're doing to talk through health and safety and stationery in the next few weeks, you can join those and just get that little bit of extra help and support. And also some physical events as well that we'll be doing later in the year, so much smaller groups of our members, so we can do panel discussions or just go out and have a coffee in a much smaller group. And our premium package, there's a couple of people on this at the moment who are going through projects, or they're fairly new to office management, and they get 30 minutes of consultancy time with me once a month. So they can schedule that if they want to have me at the end of the phone or an email. You can pay annually in advance, and you get about a month or two free if you do that. So it is the cheaper option if you are looking at it. But down here is the button for the free trial. And as I say, it doesn't take any payment details. It's just your company details and nickname and so on that you want to use in the portal, and some security questions for your password. So it just means you won't get access to download the templates during a 30-day trial, but everything else you can have access to. And there's some testimonials down here. So some of our members have written some for us kindly. So if you want to have a look at what people are saying, frequently asked questions and so on, then have a look in there. Okay, so that's the Office Management Portal. So I'm going to open up the phone lines now. And if you do have any questions, please shout. Keep your lines on mute if you don't, because we don't want too much background noise. There we go. Okay, so if anyone's got a question, please shout. Or anyone wants to see any more templates or any other parts of the portal. And hi, now that I can hear all of you.
Hello, Hannah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, this is Arancha Green from IQ Student Accommodation. So I have a question with regards to the packages. If it's more than one person in a company that would want access to this, do we get like a group discount, or how would that work?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So just down here, we've got a little note saying that if you require more than two memberships, so 3 or more, we can do a bespoke pricing plan. Now, I shouldn't say this because it's probably doing me out of a little bit of business, but what you could do is, if you all just wanted the £27 a month one, you could technically share one membership. But obviously, it means you've got access to each other's forum and whoever's name it's in. So it might be better to do separate, but you could do that. If, however, you want to have a mixture, so a couple of you could have the basic and one of you could have the webinar type version, you can do that. But particularly with this one, if everybody wants to join the webinar separately, they'll all need an individual login, because it will only accept one individual at our events and webinars and so on. But yeah, we'll do discounts for corporate packages.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. You can just drop me an email if you're interested, and then we can discuss how many you want.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Archer. Does anybody else have a question at all? Want to say anything else?
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, it's
Angela.
Yeah, Angela from JGP Resourcing Limited. I just wondered, with all of the parts that are on the portal, will there be in the future recommendations for recruiting staff, so possibly agencies or particular places that other office managers might have found useful?
Yeah, so it's interesting, because when I first started developing this, I spoke to a few office managers and some suppliers about it, and it was before I'd even had any designs or anything for the actual platform. And a couple of people said to me, are you going to put a job board on there so that office managers that are looking can find roles? Is that the sort of thing you mean, or do you mean something else more specific?
Yeah, particularly for obviously if you're an office manager and you can then recruit for an assistant or an admin person to help you, sort of to go to somewhere where, like, because of this forum, other people have found people.
Yes, yeah. So I hadn't looked at it from that angle before, where your company might be looking to recruit, and therefore, you know, we can share information. So initially, when someone had asked and it was more of a job board, I thought, well, it's probably not ideal, because if your company finds out that we've got a job board on here, they might not pay for your subscription, because it might mean that you leave them. Yeah. But actually, we've had quite a few people ask about it since we went live. And I think, given the point you just raised as well, actually, about, you know, if your own company's recruiting and being able to share that, then yes, absolutely, that's something we should be adding. So yeah, it might be good for us to chat offline if you're happy to, and I can drill into that a bit more and then put it on our list for development in the future.
Yes, of course. Drop me an email, because I'm at home, and then I can send you my mobile telephone number.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, Hannah. It's Arantxa Green. Sorry, just a quick question. Our office manager couldn't make the webinar this morning. She's not in the office. Can you tell me when the next webinar like this will be? Do you have a date?
So I'll probably be doing them every month. So I'll book in another one probably today, actually, for a month's time. But I can always do a one-to-one webinar if she'd like to see it, or he.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly ask her. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
That'd be good.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah. Just drop me an email.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Until I
are there any other questions at all?
Because I was like paranoid that it could be something really wrong. And then I booked it yesterday, and I said I need to have it as soon as possible, because if I don't book it for today or tomorrow, I won't be able.
Francisca, is that you speaking? I saw your mic move up and down then. I don't know if you've got a question at all.
I'm roughly saying.
No, it's stopped. It's gone silent. Okay, well,
I think Karen
Williams,
Hannah, it's Arantxa
yes,
again. I think someone called Karen Williams has sent saying something that her mic's not working.
Okay, great. And I can see she's sent a chat. Thank you very much for highlighting that. How did you wave? I need to learn how to use this better, because I didn't know you could wave. That's great. Okay, so yes, I can show you a couple more joiner templates, Karen, and sorry that we can't hear you. Let me just log back in here. Okay. So let's go to the welcome pack. Welcome pack. There we go. And I'll open up some of the trackers as well. So this is a welcome pack. So obviously, if a joiner starts, you can pop this on their desk, or in a pack with some other printed forms that they might need to sign, like compliance declarations and so on. And again, with all of them, they're in square brackets, so you can edit them as needed. And it's got basic information here. You might not want to obviously put their password on this. You might want to email that instead. Or, you know, give it to a colleague or whatever it might be. Obviously, if you email it, they can't see it. So yeah, so however you want to do it, you can put that in here, give basic information about the office and so on. So that's a really simple welcome pack, and you can obviously add to it. The joiner notification, so this is an email, and going to open it in Outlook, so excuse this if it brings up lots of emails and notifications in my Outlook. Here we go. So you can auto-populate these templates if you want to by saving them down again as an OST file to a certain address. So say, for example, I've got a group address which is Office Management Team or something. I can auto-populate that so that in the templates that I send around to everybody, it always comes to us by default, and they don't have to type that in. Sorry, here we go, all my catch-up's coming up. And what you can do here is, as I say, put this perhaps on an intranet site in your company, so everybody can fill in their joiner leaver templates when they've hired somebody, or you can just give it to HR, so that the HR department, if it's separate from what you do, can tell you every time, as soon as they know someone's joining, when they're coming. And you could CC, for example, the IT team in here, so they know, and the compliance team if you have one, and reception and security and so on. So you can have all of that in there, pre-populated and set up, so that you get all the information you need in order to get that person onboarded. And then trackers. So I'll show you this one because this one's combined, and then there's separate ones as well. So once you get that email notification, and it's the same in reverse for the lever one, you can populate it into a tracker, or again, if you've got the shared drive with HR, they can just automatically add people in here. And has anyone heard of Smartsheet? Anyone using that? Smartsheet. So I'm going to do some tips and things on Smartsheet, because it's actually, I'm using it with a client, and it's a really useful way where you can get email notifications from this web app, which is similar to Excel, and you can create web forms and things. So I can virtualize all of these forms through Smartsheet. So I'm going to do some bits on that soon, but it's easier if you've got access to that platform to do it. So otherwise it's a bit more manual, but it's in Excel. So it's joiner tracker. So here's all of our example joiners. And yeah, you can just populate it when you've got that form on email through with all the information. And again, preconditional formatted. So yes, IT setup, for example, and mobile I've requested, and I'm waiting for the PAC code from the person that's leaving to come over so that they can take the number with them, or whatever it might be, waiting for the SIM, the handset to be wiped. Have I informed security or reception to get their security card set up or access photo card done? Have I checked their desk? Is it clean, tidy? Is the pedestal clear and set up and everything's ready? Are they set up on the scanner? Have I sent them a welcome email or done the pack? Have I given them the tour? And are they complete? So it's all in there. And then leavers, sorry, it's just in reverse. So removing everything. And then this is a health and safety tracker. So if you've done the inductions, when the health and safety refreshers due, because we should be doing it ideally every year, fire safety training every year, and refreshers due, DSC assessments, and comments from DSC as well, so you can keep this all in one place. If you do DSCs in here, I'd just make sure that this file's locked down, because you might put in some fairly private stuff like they had a broken arm, or whatever it might be, or put a password on it so that only you can access it or whoever needs to. Is that enough for you there, Karen? Also see some health and safety assessment templates. Yes, of course. Just before that, I'll just check, Cassandra's just asked something as well. So if you purchase a standard package but find later want to join a webinar, do you have a chance to change your package? At the moment, yes, there is an upgrade option. So if you want to join webinars, you can upgrade your package. You can't downgrade, however. And I haven't looked at paying separately for webinars, but that's a really good idea. So I can always look at that. We had thought about doing paid for events that are part of the membership. So if you want to, for example, join, one of our private member events, and you want to pay, I don't know, 10 or whatever it might be, then we've looked at that, but I haven't looked at webinars, so that's a really good idea. So thank you. Okay, so Karen, I'll show you some of the health and safety documents. Let's have a look. Let's do an emergency evacuation plan, for example. So this is the wrong one, actually. I don't want to do this one. I want to do my general one. Where are we? Emergency evacuation plan. This is my EAP, as people call it, rather than my PEEP, which is a personal one. So this you can use for your fire safety evacuation, basically, or emergency evacuation. And this is something I would recommend you complete and then put on your notice boards. So you can have it on separate sheets of paper, or you can obviously have it on one and just all sat together on the notice board. And if you have various floors, have a notice board on each office, on each floor, and put them on here. But again, you can pop your logo in, change all the format, fill in the addresses, and it just talks you through various sections of an emergency evacuation, what the procedure is. And then in here, particularly if you've got CAD drawings of your office, or you can just make a little plan, you can use these symbols and just drag them over your picture of your floor plan, basically. So you can embed your picture, send it backwards, keep these on the top of it, and move these to point people through the exit routes of how they'll get out. And then again, put your assembly map here, so a Google map or whatever it might be, screenshot in here, and then drag and drop to show where your assembly point is and where you are and so on. Do you want me to show you some more? Let's have a look. What else should we do? That's a training tracker, which we've seen more or less. Health and safety policy statement. So again, you can change the format and add in your logos and things. So this is a basic health and safety policy statement, and I quite like putting a picture, you know, like branding or something here for your office, and then you get your director, partner, founder, managing director, whoever it might be, to sign it, and again pop this on your notice board and change bits that perhaps aren't relevant or aren't perhaps the tone for your company, because everyone's got a particular tone. So this is just a generic one that you can see. Hopefully that's enough, but if there's anything else in particular you want to see, this one's a fire, we'll go into PowerPoint, it's a bit different. This one's a fire safety awareness training for all staff. So you can do this if you want to do it internally. Obviously it's better to get someone external in, but if you're small and just want to do an annual one, these are some slides you can change around, and I think it's always good to test people because it's a way of seeing if they're listening. So do a pre-test, see what they know already, and then at the end there's a post-test somewhere. Here we go. So you can check and see if they've actually learned anything, or give them sheets of paper if you want to and do a test so you really see if they're understanding it. But yeah, you can do that in room and do all staff fire safety training, or email it round to them and get confirmation that they have understood. Yes, I have got a business continuity template. So this one's building, so there isn't the policy in here yet. I've got that to add, but there's a couple of templates in here. So a business impact analysis template. I'm just conscious of time, so I don't want to keep people for too much longer, but this is the BIA. So this is assessing what departments in your company need business continuity plans and support, and why. So department heads, if you consider their department to be high dependency or low, for example, if it's trading and there's a dependency to make money for the company on trading because that's how you generate the revenues, then they're obviously a high dependency. And if they're 24/7, it's high at all times. And what sort of stages and things they need to be doing things in. So stage 1 is the first 3 hours, for example. That's how I've broken it up. But you might do, I don't know, the first hour, and then 1 to 12 hours or 8 hours for a business day or whatever. So you can break this up how you want, but what do they need to be doing in that first hour? Well, telling their customers that we've had to leave the office, or that, we can't get to the office and we're on our way to our disaster recovery site, or whatever it might be. At stage 2, saying things are getting back to normal, but you might find that these services are still affected, letting people get their money back and so on and so forth. So what do you have to do? Some of that might be a financial conduct authority requirement. Some of it might just be because that's your policy or your contract with your clients. Then assessing what services and tools you need to be able to maintain that. So what the service is, what resource it is, and assessing whether it's a virtual IT, physical IT, whereabouts it's based, because obviously if it's in the office and it's physical and you can't get to the office, you've got a gap there that you need to fill in. So let's say, for example, you're in accounts and you pay with a bank fob, the little calculators that you have to use. Have you got a copy of that outside of the office, or how easily can you go and get one from your bank and reactivate it? So it makes you consider all those things. And then what you would do during a disaster, and what you would need, for kind of summarising it. And then these are just templates for when you're actually in a disaster and post-disaster. But yeah, there is a policy that will be in there soon, and a few other templates, so adding to it. But if anyone ever does sign up to this and they need a template sooner, just let me know and I'll add it sooner. I'm just having a quick look at the chat to see if there's any other questions I've not answered. You're welcome, Karen. Sorry we can't hear you. Okay, are there any other questions at all? No? Okay, fab. Well, hopefully everybody found that really useful. Let's say you can go and sign up on the free trial just from the officemanagementportal.com and sign up section, or wait a few moments and I'll be sending you the link in an email. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate your time.